Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Jensen, the Mom Ambassador Liaison here at Moms Meet. Thanks for joining us today for the Lundberg Family Farms webinar, where you will get your questions answered by Amie Valpone, a personal chef, culinary nutritionist, and professional recipe developer. If you have any questions, please be sure to type them into your chat window. With that said, Amie, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Moms Meet and Lundberg, for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And I hope I'm answering everybody's questions, talking about clean eating. At the end, we're going to take any questions that you have, so you can always jot your question into the box, and we will be more than happy to answer questions. We also have Ashley from Lundberg that's happy to answer questions about any product at the end. So we're going to start off and talk a little bit about clean eating. So I write the website, thehealthyapple.com, and my main mission is clean eating, and I suffered for years with health issues and realized that a lot of it had to do with my food. And after I started cleaning up my diet and my food, a lot of things changed. And now I really help people, moms and families especially, clean up the food that they're eating and they're feeding to their kids. And Lundberg is one of my favorite brands. I use everything from their rice to their gluten-free couscous to their rice cakes. With all my clients and myself and my family. So this is really a perfect fit for me. So I hope that you guys all learn a little bit of something in each slide. So this is a little bit about me here on the first slide, but we are going to jot through over and talk now a little bit about Lundberg and all their products. So I'm sure you've seen in different food stores, Whole Foods Market, a lot of the health food stores, some of the Lundberg products. And you can see in the picture here, they've got everything from the brown rice syrup to their black rice, the wild rice, brown rice. They even have three different kinds of chips. They've got the organic rice chips, the regular rice chips, and the multi-grain chips, which are great for barbecues, especially in the summer, and even to make nachos with. And then there's simply the rice cakes, which you can see on either side. They have a ton of fun flavors. Here they've got the sweet chili and the hemp. But they've also have great little products that you can use to do easy dinners. So they've got risotto, they've got pastas, they've got the couscous, they've got, right in the front you have a whole grain black bean and rice. So easy products that you can just really put right onto the stove or pop into the oven and have dinner ready in no time. And we're going to walk through some ways to use a little bit about each of these products. So Lundberg, they're out in Northern California. And they specialize in organic whole grain rice and rice products. One of my favorite products from Lundberg is their gluten-free couscous. And a lot of people, I'm not sure if all of you are gluten-free, or some of you obviously have heard of gluten-free, but they're the only company that has a gluten-free couscous, and it's pretty incredible. So their products are they're manufactured, with a wide variety of products for busy families and gourmet home chefs, but even for, the busy mom and the busy family. And kids love them. I mean, you can have anything from a rice cake with nut butter to, chips and salsa, to making a full dinner with, the rice pilaf and the multi-grain rice and the couscous. So we're going to go on to the next step here and talk a little bit about what is clean eating. So clean eating really is a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. There's no counting calories. There's really focusing on whole food and eating as close to the source as possible, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before. Eating an apple instead of eating processed apple juice. Using products with, few to one ingredients instead of processed food. So it's not about calorie intake, it's about nutrient intake. And again, building these families, we're working together, feeding your children. We want everyone to know that you really have to start with nutrients. And that is what makes a family and children are obviously very healthy. So getting in your whole grains and your healthy fats and your fiber. So one thing that I've found working with many families is that some of the products that people find in stores are in a box or a package, and they get very confused, wondering, is this processed? I can't eat it. That's not clean eating. And, yes, that does go for, products like, Kraft macaroni and cheese and, sugary cereals and different things like that. But if you're talking about, a bag of rice or a bag of beans or, the Lundberg Farm has the boxes of couscous and the pasta dinners and the rice dinners, different things like that, those are not processed foods. So those are really breaking it down for you with quality ingredients. No fillers, no artificial flavors, no food dyes. So I want everyone to know that just because clean eating is all about eating whole foods, it doesn't mean that you can still go into the middle aisles of the food store and walk down the aisles and look for real products like this. So I don't want you to get scared about, not eating anything out of a box, which a lot of people sometimes are worried about. So that's one reason that I really love, these Lundberg products and why I feel so safe using them, because it's a lot of those artificial dyes and food dyes and the fillers, the MSG and different things like that that are making people sick. So, if you look into the Lundberg website after the webinar, you can take a look at some of the homemade, the meals that they have, and you can make them just in a few minutes. So when you're in a rush, home from work, or you're picking the kids up from soccer, you can just toss them on the stove, and you've got dinner ready, in a jiffy. So these meals, let's take the pasta meal, for example. So the pasta meals are right in the box, and you simply just make it right in your stovetop. And you can serve that for dinner, with a side of roasted veggies in the winter, or, this time of the year in the spring and summer, you can serve it with, a green salad or maybe even some raw veggies on the side and some fruit. So these entrees, they have the whole grain rice and they also have the pasta. But what I like to do with the whole grain rice entrees, don't think that you just have to throw them in a bowl and serve them as a kind of, Buddha bowl for the whole family. You can make them really interesting and even serve them with tacos or put them into burritos or make a salad with them and even stuff them into enchilada recipes. So don't feel like you have to always put down on the table, an actual bowl of rice or, a bowl of the couscous or whatever it may be. I want you to feel like you can get creative with these things and think outside the box. So, if there's bell peppers in the food store and they're on sale, stuff some of the rice into them. If you find some kale or collard greens or some other, dark leafy greens, even romaine lettuce leaves, you can make yourself some lettuce wrap and put the rice right into there or the couscous and wrap it up for yourself. And that's a great example for moms. A lot of the moms that I work with, they end up picking right off the kids' plate, with whatever they're eating, which is fine. But when they're in the mood, for something a little bit more substantial, they end up just reaching for, something in the cabinet, whereas they've got all these leftovers in the fridge, and you can easily toss together something that you can eat on the go or right before you go to run out to pick the kids up. So we're going to go on right here to the next slide. Busy families can eat clean too. So this is a little bit about what we were talking about before. You want to eat at home as much as possible. And, in this day and age, it's really hard to resist, when you have kids and there's all these fast food restaurants and you're traveling and, you're picking the kids up from gymnastics or soccer, and it's hard to get everybody sitting down at the table together. And if you live in an area where it's hard to get a lot of fresh foods or to buy a lot of organic or to find farmers markets, organic frozen foods are just as good. So you can look for fruits and veggies right in the freezer section. And one thing that people don't realize is that frozen foods can be clean eating too. Now, I'm not talking about frozen pizzas and, frozen Hot Pockets, but I'm talking about, fruits and vegetables that are just flash frozen as soon as they're picked. And sometimes what people are really surprised about is that they actually have more nutrition in them than a lot of fresh veggies. Because what happens with fresh veggies and fruits is that they're picked and then, they're shipped halfway across the country and they sit in the food store and then they sit in your fridge. And then by the time they make it to your plate, it's been, a week or so. And they've lost a lot of the nutrients that they had when they were ripe and they were first picked. So this is why it's so great to, pick and choose a lot of fresh fruits and veggies, and you can easily use those into any kind of recipe that you can use with rice and pasta. So simple is the key. Gourmet recipes are not necessary. If you cook up a batch of rice or pasta on a Sunday night, you can use it throughout the week in different recipes. Even feel free to use some leftover pasta that you make on top of a salad with, a little bit of romaine and kale and collard greens or some chopped tomatoes. Even, sweeten it up and put some, grapes in there or some nuts and seeds to kind of add a little crunch. Now, what I like to do to add a little bit of flavor, because kids always love flavor and you always want to switch up the flavor profiles, even if you have, you're sticking with the same old recipes. So Greek plain yogurt is great. If there's a dairy allergy, there's obviously coconut milk and almond milk, which is great. But there's also almond milk and coconut milk yogurts that are wonderful too. You can incorporate those into a lot of rice dishes. So one great way to use, a whole grain rice, whether it's the brown rice from Lundberg or a black rice or one of their wild rices, is to make an easy porridge in the morning. So instead of oatmeal, if your kids are sick of eating oatmeal in the morning, or even you and your husband are sick of eating oatmeal in the morning, no problem. You can switch it up and get really creative by taking that rice and from the fridge, serve it nice and chilled if you want. Put a little bit of, organic milk on it, or your coconut milk or your almond milk, a little bit of ice cream if you want for a little dessert, or you can put just regular Greek plain yogurt on top, put some nuts and seeds, and serve that for breakfast. So that's a great porridge. And a lot of my clients actually like to serve it, as I said, with a little bit of ice cream on top for dessert. So, after dinner, if the kids are wanting something sweet and you don't want to serve them something really sugary out of, a cookie box or something like that, you can just take one of these little porridges, add a little bit of, wholesome ice cream to it, and drizzle a little honey on it, and you have a perfect little dessert that's a whole grain with a ton of fiber and protein. So what we talked about before is eating, the one ingredient, whole organic foods, your avocado, your kale, your collard greens and spinach, a lot of nuts and seeds unless there's another seed allergies. Berries are a great way to get kids excited about fresh fruits. And right now, it's summertime, so kids love, melon. We've got honeydew and cantaloupe and watermelon. And you can even pair those, as I have here, with fresh herbs. So even serving, a bowl of cantaloupe with a little bit of cinnamon and some fresh mint on it, is a great way to serve kids something that's sweet and that they love that. You can even put it on some kebabs. You could make little skewers and make little kebabs for them to eat it off and make it a little bit of fun. Serve it maybe with a side of almond butter or peanut butter so that they can dip it in. So then they're getting their protein and their fiber all together. So you want to, as I said before, create flavor in all these meals and all these snacks. And as I said, we want to come up with these whole food flavor boosters. So think, your olive oil, your balsamic vinegars, apple cider vinegar. Lundberg even has a brown rice syrup, which is amazing in a lot of desserts. So if you're making, homemade trail mix bars or some kind of dessert, even, brown rice little, sticky balls that are raw and don't need any baking, you can use the brown rice syrup. And honey and maple syrup are great as well. What I like to do is take a lot of fruit and puree it in a food processor. So you can take, some fresh berries or even some cantaloupe, watermelon, whatever it may be from your fruit, even sweet potatoes in the winter if you'd like, and puree them with a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg in the winter, a little bit of allspice, and you have a great little puree that you can serve to kids. You can drizzle that if you want over some yogurt for a little dessert. Or you can make that a salad dressing, or with a little bit of olive oil with some salt and pepper for a salad. So really, those flavor profiles are so important, when you want to boost the flavor in anything for the kids. So if you find that, the kids are getting bored with, the same old for dinner, serve the same salad so you're not driving yourself crazy coming up with a whole new recipe. Maybe it's a grilled chicken salad, but you do something different and add, a different kind of marinade or a different kind of dressing like we talked about. One thing that I think is so fun for families, and we do this a lot as kids in my family, is to make your family dinner fun and serve it bar style. Instead of you setting the table and getting everything out, set out and, organized, just put everything kind of like buffet style on the table and give everybody a plate and have them go around, and maybe you're having a burrito bar. So you have your tortillas and you have a bowl of black beans, and maybe you have a bowl of chickpeas and you have a bowl of brown rice. And then you have a taco bar. You have some chopped lettuce, maybe some diced tomatoes, some taco whether it's hard corn tortillas or the soft tortillas. Or you can even, serve it over a taco. You can make a taco salad. And then, talking about salad bars are great. And these even work for kids' birthday parties. Have a fun little burger bar, or make little sliders for the kids. One thing that I think is fun in the wintertime is doing a sweet potato bar. Make sweet potatoes, mash them up, or even for Thanksgiving, and have everybody go around with different toppings. And that is kind of the same thing as style as the yogurt parfait bar, which is great for kids' birthday parties. Have your Greek yogurt or your coconut milk yogurt out, and then have a ton of toppings. So maybe it's unsweetened coconut flakes. Maybe it's some of the Lundberg brown rice syrup that they can put on top. Or, maybe it's a little bowl of, the chilled brown rice or chilled wild rice that they can get a little whole grain in there, make a parfait, and layer it, instead of using granola. And then last, I have an idea for an omelet bar. So, one thing that's great about omelets, people don't realize that you can put whole grains into omelets. A lot of my clients will eat omelets in the morning and they don't want bread, and they really find that, finding a quality whole grain is so much better than eating, a white bread that's really void of nutrients. So if you make your omelet, say you make it with a little bit of cheese and a little bit of spinach, or whatever you might like, maybe some onions, you can toss it in, a soup of, rice that you have in your fridge, where you can heat it up and put it inside while you're cooking it as well. And right there, then you have your whole grain right inside your omelet. Or you can serve it on the side, kind of like a mock hash brown, if you want to call it. So that's a great way to get extra nutrients, tons of fiber, instead of having, a piece of bread that might not be, a nutritional profile as, some of these Lundberg products, because it can be hard to find a good quality bread. So moving on to the next panel, we have tips and tricks for making meals clean and easy. So you want to keep your fridge stocked, as we were talking about, with your fruits and veggies, lean proteins. And when I talk about lean proteins, I mean, your chicken breast and, different kinds of seafood, whether you like, different fish, salmon, or maybe it's some shrimp, or different kinds of things like that. If you like soy, you can have some edamame, or you can have some tofu. Your whole grains. So, you can, like we're going to talk about in a minute, cooking up these big bowls of a bunch of different whole grains that you like. And then healthy fats. So healthy fats are everything from avocado to olive oil to flaxseed oil and hemp seed oil. Now, flaxseed oil and hemp seed oil are so high in omega-3s, which are great for inflammation and just awesome fats that you really want to get into your diet. You really want to stay away from, a lot of the other oils that aren't as healthy. Olive oil is wonderful as well. And then, of course, we have nuts and seeds, which are great fat that you can toss into any of these, recipes or products, unless there is a nut or seed allergy. So when I talk about cooking once, eating all week, you want to get your family together and, make it fun for everyone. Maybe you type up a little questionnaire and say, rate these, products, or rate these foods 1 to 5. What do you like? Maybe one is black rice and wild rice, and maybe another one is brown rice, or the jasmine rice, or maybe it's the couscous, or the boxed pastas that they have, as well as the boxed rice dishes. So maybe you make a little bit, and you kind of make it a little experiment, like you're in a lab, and you put each one in a little bowl and have the kids taste them and rate which one they like. And then, get your, round everything up, see what they like the most. And then okay, the kids like these 5 grains the most. So this week, I'm going to make, a huge bowl of wild rice and the Lundberg couscous and, the box pasta, as well as the box rice dishes. So you then have, 4 or 5 main whole grains that you can make on Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, Sunday evening, while the kids are sleeping. Cook them all up. You've got 4 burners on your stove. Cook them all up, add your water, your sea salt, your pepper, and put them into the fridge in 4 different containers. So you've got a fridge for your wild rice, a container in your fridge for your wild rice, container in your fridge for, the pasta, container for your black rice, container for your couscous, and maybe a container for the boxed rice if that's what you chose. So when it comes to Monday morning and your alarm went off late and you're running around the house and the kids are screaming and you don't want to give them something out of a box, like a sugary cereal, you can just take one of like the Lundberg brown rice that you made. Like I said, make it a little porridge for them. Serve it chilled or serve it parfait style with a little bit of yogurt and layer it up for them. Put some nuts and seeds in it. Maybe put a few like nice quality dark chocolate chips on top to make it sweet, or some unsweetened coconut flakes are great. You always drizzle a little bit of honey or maybe a little bit of the brown rice syrup on top, or even maple syrup to make it a little sweet. And dried fruit is wonderful as well. So you can add some dried cranberries or some dried cherries, dried mango, even grapes are wonderful. Or you can do, the dry version and add in some raisins. So that's just one example of what you can do with what's in your fridge from Sunday night. So once lunchtime comes, and you're running around and you want to go pick up the kids, you can take a scoop of that brown rice that you made and add maybe some leftover grilled shrimp that you had from dinner and put a little salsa on top with some fresh chives, maybe some sour cream or Greek yogurt, and then stuff it into some rice flour tortillas with a little bit of hummus. So this is another example. And then you have, dinner on, maybe Monday night. So couscous, you've got your leftover couscous in the fridge. So you've already added your salt and pepper, tossed in your olive oil. Maybe you put in, some of the veggies you've got left over, like some broccoli or, red cabbage, purple cabbage, red bell peppers, kale. And don't be afraid to add some fresh lemon juice to give it some nice sweet flavor. And right there you've got, a jeweled couscous salad. So again, I just laid out for you, 7 days of different examples of what you can do when all you do is just take a few different bowls of whole grains, put them into your fridge, and look at all the little variations you can make. So it's all about getting creative here. So moving on to the next slide. These are the brown rice products that I was talking about that Lundberg has. Now these are unbelievable. I do a lot of these with families and put a lot of them, I stuff these into, like I was saying before, into bell peppers and stuff them into onions and tomatoes. And kids love them. You can even put them into tacos, put a little arugula on top or even some burritos that are great. Now the best thing about this is you don't have to cook it for like the usual 50-minute cooking time. It's only 32 minutes or less. So again, it's saving you time, it's easy, and the flavors and seasonings are already in there, and they're actually ones you can pronounce, unlike a lot of the flavors and seasonings probably in your spice cabinet that have MSG in them or additives that you're just not sure about what they are. So you can feel good about, digging into each of these and not having to worry about all the chemicals and additives and dyes and all of that. So it's a great starting point when you're, in a rush, you just want to pick something up. They're, all organic, and you can just kind of get ready, put some veggies in it, and then dress it up however you'd like. So moving on to this slide for some clean eating tips. Always, like we were saying, make a plan before you go to the food store. All the ingredients you're going to need for the week based on those, 4 bowls of whole grains you have in your fridge. Try to buy fresh. The fresher the better. But it can also mean, like we were talking about, the frozen veggies and the fruits, because those nutrients were locked in and they were flash frozen. Now, I know all the moms are always, food shopping, probably in the food store once a day with the way these kids are eating, but, always make sure you've got something healthy on you when you're going to the food store. And my favorite little snack is, one of the brown rice cakes from Lundberg. Take some nut butter, put it on top, and a drizzle of honey, and you're all set. Nice full grain snack, counteracting it with a little bit of healthy fat. Buying in season is also great because, a lot of farmers markets and a lot of food stores will have, the fruits and veggies that are in season right at that point, and a lot of them are actually lower in cost. So it might be a great way for you to kind of, get creative in the kitchen, put some seasonal veggies and fruits into your dishes and save a little money at the same time. If you're really in a pinch, a lot of stores have, diced fruits and diced veggies, whether it's, pineapple or bell peppers, onions, whatever it may be. Don't be afraid to just buy the packaged ones that are red that the store, dices up for you, or take them right off the salad bar at Whole Foods Market, whatever it may be, because that'll help save you a lot of time when you get home. And as I said before, always shop the entire store. Even though there are those sugary cereal boxes, you can skip that aisle, but make sure you really look for those good quality products like these Lundberg box pastas and the Lundberg box rices that we talked about. Because those are clean foods, and don't be afraid to look at those products and even look at the ingredients. You're often better off looking at those ingredients and realizing, there's no additives and dyes and MSGs, things you can feel good about, and just, see that Lundberg name, toss it into your basket, and you're set. And then always treat yourself. Don't feel like clean eating has to be, you always have to be, eating kale every night. Treat yourself to something healthy, even if it's some baked apples, with some honey on top and a little bit of Greek yogurt, or even some ice cream. Treat the kids to different things, or make a whole grain pizza crust, that's healthy with your favorite toppings on top. So that is pretty much all we have for the clean eating tip. And then we're going on to the next page here. Like I talked about, I love doing rice cakes, crush it up on top of a salad. That's the last thing that I love to do on top of, different kind of recipes that you can make any time of the year. So if you don't have croutons, or if you don't have anything that you want to put on top of a salad, but you really feel like it needs a little bit of a punch, you can just take some of the Lundberg rice cakes, and they're all flavored. So there's all these different flavors. Like we look at the chili flavor and the hemp flavor in the last picture. You can take those up, crush them up, put them on top of a salad. And then you have a nice little crouton dish for yourself without even having to worry about buying croutons or worrying about, some of the preservatives that are in some of the croutons. And another thing that I love to do is to start an herb garden. So even if you, like myself, live in Manhattan, or you live in the city, you can have a little window box with some fresh herbs. Basil, rosemary, mint and cilantro are great for the summer. So don't be afraid to, start a little garden, or put a little pot out in your back deck, and use some flavors that way. Fresh herbs and toss them into your. And as we said before, don't forget to take them to the olive oil, a little salt and pepper. You can all right into the. And if you're just wanting something nice and simple on a summer night, you can just steam them right on the stove top, or just throw them right on your grill, nice and easy. This way you don't have to heat the house up. Toss in some of that fresh cilantro you have from your herb garden, and some dried cherries or cranberries, or whatever you'd like to add some flavor in there. And again, last thing we have is just choose the whole grains, and that's what I love about Lundberg. You can always, rest assured their products are always made with, quality whole grains. So you got the brown rice, the wild rice that I spoke about earlier, the risotto, the couscous, and there's so many more options. Like we talked about the new box pastas and the new box rice dishes. The options are endless. You add a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of sea salt and pepper, and you've got a perfect side dish. So don't hesitate to be creative. Add in some of that herb garden. Add in some of those nuts and seeds, some of the little flavor boosters we talked about before. And you've got a great dish that, really excites the kids and kind of keeps them, thinking it's a new recipe that you're making up. So that's all we have for you today. That ends, our clean eating presentation. I hope you all enjoyed our ideas. But we are here for you, happy to answer any questions at all. And my website is healthyapple.com. I update it once a week with new recipes, all clean eating, lots of Lundberg yummy recipes. And same thing with all my social media channels that I'm posting on daily. So if I can ever help anyone answer any questions for any of you moms out there, I'm more than happy to. We also have Ashley on the line from Lundberg. So if we can answer any questions about the products themselves, or about, unique creative ways to use them, we're here for you. So if you ladies want to take any questions, we're ready to answer them.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Amie. That was such a great presentation. We have a lot of great questions coming in. The first question is for you, and we have a few mom ambassadors just struggling with adopting a clean lifestyle, and they're just wondering, what made you fully adopt a clean lifestyle, and if you had any tips for them.
Yes, definitely. So my story actually is quite long, and I wish I had time to tell it all now, but it's on my About page of my website, healthyapple.com. But I actually, at the age of 25, I was incredibly sick, getting bone marrow biopsies, and pretty much living on steroids, painkillers, water pills, and just a ton of drugs and disability from my corporate job in New York City. And that ended up being toxicity from a lot of the foods that I was eating. I wasn't eating quality organic, and a lot of these different foods. Didn't understand what healthy fats were, and all these different things, and quality proteins. I never ate organic, so it's really I really started to understand and dig into what is clean eating and how can I really nourish my body with these clean foods. So I pretty much tossed out everything in my cabinets, everything in my fridge, and adopted a clean lifestyle. And that's pretty much how I started my business now. And then I help families and moms, clean up their lifestyle, whether they have some kind of autoimmune disease or illness, or their children do, or food allergies, are really big with a lot of families I work with. And food intolerance is a huge issue, which I have as well. So that's what really made me adopt a clean lifestyle. And I'm living proof right here that it works. And I'm now writing a cookbook on clean eating. So it's really changed my life, and I'm out to help anyone that I can that's kind of looking for something like that. And in terms of tips on how to adopt it, I really would start, as I said before, with just look into your pantry, look into your fridge. What do you have that you can clean up? Even on the door of your fridge, what kind of condiments are you using? What's in those condiments? I mean, even something like mustard, right? Look at the ingredients. A lot of them are filled with so many fillers. And like I talked about before with the Lundberg products, like when I came across their box pastas and their box rice dishes, I was just so relieved, and I'm buying them each week for the families I work with because they're just so easy to toss into your basket, and you don't have to worry about, looking on the shelf for some seasonings and looking on the shelf for, spices and different things like that. That a lot of them have baking agents and different things that attribute to these, things that we're seeing in a lot of kids, like food allergies or ADD or different things like that. Just buying a product that you can feel safe with, even like their rice cakes, right? So that's a perfect example of clean eating. Taking a rice cake, a Lundberg rice cake, they've got a ton of flavor, so it's not like a boring, flat, dull rice cake. You take one of their fun flavors for the kids, like maybe, some of the sweet ones. You put some almond butter on top of it, or if there's a food allergy, you put some sunflower seed butter on top with a little bit of honey, and that's a great snack for them after work, or when you get home from work, or when they get home from school. So really just starting very, very simple. What can you do to kind of take out some of the products that are processed and put in some of the new products? Maybe you look at your cereal cabinet and you all these cereals with added sugar in them. So looking at that, and really developing, showing the kids how to make porridge in the morning and making that fun little porridge bar that I was talking about. And then something like that, just getting the kids involved. They love that. They love creating the toppings. I mean, it makes them think like, that they're making the dinner or the dish for themselves. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for those tips and that information. That was great. We now have a question for Ashley. A lot of moms are just wondering where they can generally find Lundberg products. If you could tell us some of your top retailers.
Yeah, our products are nationwide. We're both in the supermarkets and natural food stores, so take a look for us there. A lot of times in the bigger supermarkets, you'll want to look down the natural food aisle. A lot of times that's where you'll find us. But we are nationwide, so just keep an eye out for us. Also, there's a lot of online retailers that carry our products too. So if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of our products, you can always look online and try and find something there.
Okay, great. Thanks. We have a question for Amie from a mom ambassador wondering if you notice any sort of differences when you switch your food lifestyle, such as more energy or if you're more alert, if you notice any changes.
Yes, definitely. That's actually what my book is going to be about that I'm writing and will be coming out probably in about a year and a half. So it's all about kind of how I went through my illness and how I had to really detox my entire life from everything in my food to your products that you're cleaning with and the products that you use in your body every day. And one thing to really answer this question is a lot of people, because of the media, think that detox is starving yourself on a juice fast, and that's not detox at all. Detox is getting the bad things out of your food and your cleaning supplies and your makeup, what you're putting, whether it's your sunscreen or whatever, getting all those chemicals out of your life and putting in real whole foods and real whole ingredients, whether it's in your personal care products, your cleaning products, or your food. And that's one thing. It's a ton of things, because what's happening in the food system, and I have a lot of this on my website. It talks about, how to detox your pantry and how to detox, how to work with kids on, detoxing the food and different things like that. But what people and all these scientists are really discovering now, and all these doctors that I work with on an ongoing basis, is a lot of the chemicals, like these pesticides and herbicides and, antibiotics and growth hormones, and a lot of the meats that we're eating and the dairy that we're eating, they're affecting what's inside of us. So it's pretty scary. And once I started to dive into this, it really scared me. And I said, why didn't anyone educate me on this and tell me how toxic pesticides are and herbicides and, some of these other things that are in some of these products and these chemicals and additives, and what they're doing to really the cells in our body, and how they're, creating, whether it's illness or allergies or, arthritis, different things like that. So that's when I really started to dive into all this and really adopt the clean eating lifestyle. And my entire family, I really put on the clean eating lifestyle, and even my parents, who are in their mid-60s, have just felt definitely, clearer skin with a, glowing skin, tons of more energy. They definitely lost weight because they weren't eating, a lot of the products that they didn't realize had added sugars in them, and a lot of the chemicals that your body really does not identify with. So, that's another reason these Lundberg products are great, right? Because they're all whole ingredients. So you look at the ingredients on, even the packaged box of rice and the box of pasta, your body can identify all that. Your body, your cells can absorb those nutrients and, assimilate them throughout your body. Whereas in like a box of pressed macaroni and cheese, those are, if you look at it, it's dyes, it's food dyes, it's, additives, MSG, whatever it may be, it's void of nutrients. Your body and your cells, it can't use any of that. And, not to get too technical, but that's when, disease and all these other things that you start to find, whether it's, seasonal allergies or food allergies or intolerances or, like an ADD or anything else, like arthritis in older people, start to set in, because that's your body's way of saying, what's going on here. You have really not been feeding, yourself these whole foods that we need to really survive. I often tell my clients, I work with a lot of celebrities in Manhattan, and a lot of them come to me and, they're kind of obsessed with those 100-calorie packs of Oreos or whatever it may be, and they say to me, it's great because it's only 100 calories, but I say to them, you're better off eating an avocado, which is a couple hundred calories and a ton more fat, because the avocado is anti-inflammatory, and the avocado is feeding your little mitochondria in your cells, and it's protecting you and feeding you and nourishing your body, and you're absorbing that. The 100-calorie pack of Oreos or Jesus or whatever you're eating, or the white bread, it's void of nutrients. That's not doing anything for you. It's pretty much, my term for that is sawdust. So, after, a couple of years of pretty much eating sawdust products and not quality foods, your body really is like, whoa, what's going on here? And that's when, all these issues start forming and all these different things start, coming into play, which can be scary. And that is pretty much the basis, honestly, of why I got started with what I was doing. I dealt with Western medicine doctors for, 20 years, putting me on drugs and telling me, here's a Band-Aid to cover up your problem. And, I had to figure out for myself and understand integrative medicine and what I was putting into my body, and really do all this research and work with all these other doctors that focus on healing instead of, just covering up with a Band-Aid.
All right, great.
So yes, to answer the question, yes, a ton of energy, and as you can tell, and glowing skin, weight loss, and a lot of people say like brain fog too, like they have a lot of brain fog, or they feel like they need caffeine to get through the day, different things like that. Even food cravings. Food cravings are a huge issue of what I deal with a lot of moms. So, with a lot of the processed foods, they keep you craving sugars and different things like that. So really cleaning up your diet and eating whole foods, like we talked about, the Lundberg products, pairing them with, in a taco or in a salad or, with some nut butters or things like that is a great quality snack or meal that's really feeding your body.
All right, great. Thanks for giving us all of that information. We have a question for Ashley about Lundberg. A lot of mom ambassadors are wondering if Lundberg has any recipes on your guys' website.
Yeah, we do. We have a huge database of recipes, everything ranging from appetizers to some great meals and also desserts. And then we're also on Pinterest, and we have a lot of different recipes on there, and you can see all the different pictures and pick out your favorites and, give us feedback. But we're always adding to our database of recipes, so keep checking back for new stuff.
Okay, great. And we have a question that I guess could be for either of you, but we have a mom ambassador asking, what makes Lundberg as a company different from other, similar competitors?
I'm happy to start, and Ashley can always chime in because I'm sure she knows more about the brand. But from my point of view, I would say it's all about quality ingredients, kind of like what I talked about before, years ago when I didn't understand what organic was or what, living in New York City, you're trying to save money and not buying the best quality you can. You start to realize, some of these products that you're buying really are not, they're not doing anything for you, and they're like I talked about, kind of like a sawdust to your body. So, that's what really, when people come to me and say, oh, but food can be so expensive, it's like, you know what, my health bills, your health bills can be a lot more. So it's really about, Lundberg to me is about quality products and really keeping me healthy and my family healthy, and all my clients. And I'm living proof, and so are my clients, that I've seen such a turnaround just from getting the nutrients in a quality product like Lundberg, in like their wild rice and the brown rice and getting those nutrients into your body that you need, and the proteins, different things like that. Ashley, is there anything that you wanted to add in?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, this company is great about listening to our consumers, and what we have learned is that our consumers care a lot about quality products, quality ingredients, and about our dedication to organics and sustainable agriculture and transparency in our labeling. And so, every time we come out with a new product or we consider new flavors or, what we want to do for our consumers, we always keep that in mind, and we're really dedicated to those qualities in our products, and delivering what is demanded by our consumers.
Okay, great. Thank you both. Ashley, we actually just had a question come in about sustainable agriculture. Could you actually just go over what that is for our audience?
Sure. We basically farm in a way that is beneficial to the earth. So we have two lines of product. We have an organic line, which obviously all of our rice is grown according to the USDA organic standards, and the land that it's grown on is all certified organic. And then we also have a line that's eco-farmed, which can get a little confusing for consumers, but it doesn't follow the organic standards. But in order to bring the price point down for our consumers, we farm this way, and it's what we call, or it's eco-farmed, but it's basically sustainable agriculture, where we do use small amounts of pesticides and herbicides, but it's in the smallest amount possible and only, light applications. So that's kind of where our eco-farmed line comes from. And basically it's just keeping the soil healthy, trying to use as many natural farming methods as possible. And then also when it comes to manufacturing side, we utilize a lot of solar energy and wind energy, and trying to manufacture our products, making the smallest footprint we can while doing so.
Okay, great. Thank you for all of that information. We have a few mom ambassadors wondering, what is the most popular product that Lundberg sells?
Definitely our packaged rices are what we're known for. specifically our organic whole grain rices. We have a lot of different varieties. I believe we're over 18 different varieties now, and most of those are all whole grain. We have some really fun blends. We have the wild blend, which I believe is our #1 seller, and it's a blend of brown rices and black rices and some wild rice. So that's a really fun one that adds a lot of interesting color to the plate. And then also our organic short grain brown rice is another very popular one. So if you eat a lot of rice, or even if you don't eat a lot of rice, check it out and see what different options are out there, because you can make your meals a lot of fun just by switching up the different varieties.
Yeah, I agree completely. The boxed rices, I would say, are definitely the most popular from what I've seen with my clients. I mean, they're, like Ashley was saying, the variety, I think you said there's 18 of them now, but, you know, I will literally just go and buy, you know, like 10 of them in a Whole Foods market or a food store, and literally just, you know, cook them up with a client, you know, for the next 2 weeks or so. And they love the variety. And the great thing is it's so easy to cook up. I think it was, you know, 35 minutes, you know, something that's a lot easier than, you know, just buying your, you know, your regular bag of rice. And when these families are, you know, on the go or looking for something quick and easy, they can put this on the table, feel good about it because of the ingredients. And then also, you know, it's about different flavor. So really you're just putting the same thing on the table every night, but the kids really have no idea, and neither do, you know, you and your husband, because all the flavors are so different. So it's just, that's what I really love about it. It's easy to cook, and the flavor profiles are just so incredible and unique that I think it's just like a win-win, you know, whether it's in a salad, even alone, or, you know, stuffed into something.
All right, great. We have time for a few more questions today. So one question coming in is for Amie, about what the biggest advantage of is to adopting a clean eating lifestyle.
I would definitely say health. That's the #1 thing that I have found with myself, with my family, and with my clients. I mean, I pretty much healed myself from every food allergy possible, every food sensitivity, you know, and as well as a ton of my clients who have found, you know, whether their kids, like I said, were suffering from acne, or whether it's, you know, like an ADD, ADHD kind of thing, autism, different things like that, that they're finding, you know, all of these quality foods that are not, you know, loaded with these additives and dyes and MSGs and all these things that were affecting their, whether it's their behavior or their immune system, is huge. I mean, that's definitely #1. And energy is right on top there. I found so many moms, you know, that are exhausted from taking care of their kids, and like I said, they're living on coffee, and you know, they feel like every night they're just reaching to the fridge, reaching for ice cream and chocolate because they just are looking for energy, and their body is craving that, you know, and they're really not getting in enough whole grains into their diet. And excuse me, just putting in some of these, like I was talking about, some of the Lundberg products, even if it's the porridge example that I gave, excuse me, for breakfast, or the rice cakes, different things like that, you know, they just find themselves feeling so much better and more satisfied. You know, there's so many foods that are out there that are processed in boxes that do not satisfy you, like those 100-calorie packages. You know, it's not about the calories, it's about the nutrients in something. And, you know, it's about feeling satisfied. You know, if you finish a meal and you're not satisfied, you know, that's something that should really set off an alarm. Or if you're craving fat or craving, you know, a certain type of nutrient, that's really, you know, setting off an alarm that something's going on with the food that you're eating. Obviously, it's lacking, you know, those nutrients. So that's another reason that, you know, I am always stocked with Lundberg, and pretty much use them, you know, daily with different clients. So, I mean, it's really one of those brands, I have to be honest, that you can, as I was talking about, use breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and dessert. I mean, I don't really know another brand that really has something that you can whip up into, you know, every kind of meal and snack, and dessert included. So it's just versatile. I mean, you keep it, even if you buy, you know, 5 boxes or 5 bags and keep them in your pantry, you know, you can use them throughout the next few months, and, you know, always find a fun way to use them.
Okay, great. We just have one last question for Ashley here. A lot of mom ambassadors, you know, had no idea Lundberg carried so many products, so they're happy to learn about them, and they were just wondering, you know, how many products in all does Lundberg carry? Okay, I think we might have lost a connection with Ashley, so I can move on with a question to Amie. Do you have any health